Hi, everybody. My name is Ruhan Manzoor. I'm the managing partner of Maces. Welcome to another Maces organized Facebook Live session with one of our partners. And today, I'm so excited to bring on board our partner from University of Glasgow, Donna. Hi, Donna. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you were able to take some time out. I know you're very busy to speak to our students. And from what I understand, University of Glasgow is the fourth oldest English-speaking university in the world.
Yeah, that's correct.
Crazy.
Yeah, we've been around a long time. I hope I don't show it, but we've been around since 1451. So yeah.
That's crazy. You know, when you talk about 1451, we're talking about 700 years ago, literally. So, I mean, just to put it in perspective, I mean, we're talking about, I mean, this is, quite a few generations ago, I guess. So, Donna, how's everything? Like, how's the COVID situation in Scotland? I mean, I know UK has done a lot to get the vaccinations rolling. I know there is a very concerted effort in getting things to open up. And so, anything different in Glasgow? Like, what's up with Glaswegians? How are they enjoying their summer?
Well, we are slowly coming out of lockdown, although it is a very well managed situation by the Scottish government. I think if anyone is looking at what Scotland's doing, it's important to remember that it's mainly controlled by the Scottish government. So definitely worth always checking the Scottish government guidelines there. But with COVID, yeah, vaccines are rolling out. I don't mind saying I've had my vaccine, both jabs, and that is spreading across Scotland. So we're very, very pleased. I think they're opening it up to younger generations, although that I'm no longer in that younger generation, so it doesn't necessarily mean me, but it's definitely spreading out there, and it's great. So we are opening up. It is a gradual process, so the government doesn't want to rush into anything too quickly to make sure that they know exactly what's going to happen. So, but it's great. You know, we're able to go to shops and whatnot now, and go out and see friends. So it's very exciting.
I mean, that makes a huge difference. I mean, I think quality of life is very important, and when you're stuck in a hole, it's kind of really. Sometimes people get mental issues with that. I can certainly my children. I mean, they were at home for quite some time. We're in Toronto, so they were able to go to a physical school once things were safe to do so, and that helped them with those issues. So, are the university classes going online fully, or are there face-to-face classes at this point?
It's being a gradual process. So Glasgow at the moment has had a little bit of an outbreak. So the classes I don't think are currently running, but it is basically in the pipeline to start building up to that. And when we talk about September entry, we are aiming to run a blended learning format, and that will vary from class to class, unsurprisingly, what that looks like depending on the class sizes. But yeah, we are very hopeful that we will have some in-person teaching come September.
Okay, and so so when you talk about the University of Glasgow, obviously there is a very strong brand associated with it. It is a Russell Group university, and many people know this. What are the main faculties? What is Glasgow really good at?
Well, I mean, we are a very big institution, and we've got quite a wide range of programs. What I would probably highlight is that we have 4 colleges, and that's maybe the easiest way to kind of break that down. So we've got the College of Science and Engineering, we've got the College of Arts, we've got the College of Social Sciences, and then we've got the College of Medicine, Veterinary and Life Sciences. So that kind of gives you a simple answer to that question. We have a large number of programs, and obviously it would take forever to go through all of those, but that gives you a nice kind of broad guide of what kind of areas we can do. One of the things we do get asked about that we don't offer is fine art. So that's, that's quite a simple answer. But we do a lot of...
Glaswegians have nothing to do with art. They want science.
No, in fact, absolutely the opposite of that. Actually, I would say we have our own Glasgow School of Art. So fine arts are their specialty. So definitely...
Wow.
So not the case that we're not an arty city. We are a very cultural hub. So you'll have definitely lots to see when you're in Glasgow. In that
I must say this because I've been to Glasgow quite a few times, as you can imagine. I work with so many universities. So one thing I noticed, and that's what my students also say, that Glaswegians are nicer than the English. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, well, you see, you're putting me in a difficult spot there. I am half English, so before I say anything, I will say that. But I would point out that it's Glasgow's renowned for being a friendly city. In fact, it is voted and has been voted this year and multiple other years the world's friendliest city. So it is it's renowned by, it's not just me that's saying that. This is what my key point, my get out of jail free card. It's not just me. Glasgow is renowned for being incredibly friendly. It's incredibly diverse and has so much to offer. And people just stop you in the street and chat with you, and it's just, everyone is just really lovely. And I'm not a Glasgow native.
It is crazy because I can certainly relate because as I was walking down, I had to take help from people and ask for directions, and they were so open and forthcoming and smiling all the time, and that made a huge difference, and that makes a huge difference for a student who wants to study abroad. They're going alone from their family for the first time. That feeling of welcome is very important. A lot of people want to go to London. I mean, London is, of course, a very popular, it's a really good city as well. But in terms of, feeling as part of a group, I mean, Glasgow is still a big city. It's not a small city, but at the same time, it offers that small city's kind of intimacy. Let's just say. So that's been, so, Donna, how we're going to do is, of course, you're going to share a presentation. And so once you do, our students will see that. And then later on, we will ask you some questions. Hopefully none of them will have to be something like whether Glaswegians are nicer or something, but we've already done that. So hopefully it will be all business from now. So you want to share your screen?
Yep, sounds good. Okay. So can you see that?
Sorry. Yes. Here we go.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'll just crack on. So this particular slide that I'm starting with is actually one of my favorites because it just shows the beautiful view from nearby the main building. The top sort of building that you can see there is the campus, but it's a view across the city. So it's a really wonderful view that. Now, I'm just going to mention some of our key points, some of which we've already covered, actually. So we have been around a long time. We talked about being one of the first English institutions, but we are also considered one of Scotland's ancient universities. So we are very well established in higher education. And yes, we are based in the world's friendliest city, which we are very, very proud of. And it really does, as you've said, really does make for a fantastic experience for students. We are a Scottish institution. So I would like to highlight the flexible four-year degree structure that we offer at bachelor's level. And I'd also like to highlight how employability focused we are. 95.9% of our graduates are in work or further study after graduation. Now, I just want to move on a little bit to the rankings because I get asked about these and it is worth mentioning, although I'm not going to dwell too long on it today. And we are a top 100 worldwide institution. And we're also UK University of the Year this year. So we're very, very proud of that. Now, we are a very diverse institution. We have over 33,000 students from over 140 different countries. So it's a real mixture in the classroom. But also within the teaching staff, we have a very international teaching staff as well, which makes for really diverse conversations. And then on top of that, we are also a very research intensive institution, a member of the Russell Group, but also when thinking about research intensive, the nature of that, you will always hear stories in the papers about the different activities, the research activities that Glasgow are doing. So it's always, we're constantly engaging with our topics. Okay. Just another mention, we talked about the 4 colleges, and I like to use this information here to kind of show the different areas that you can study with us, and that Glasgow isn't just strong in one particular area, but in all 4 of our colleges, we're very well represented in the rankings. So this gives you an idea of some of the courses that we offer. It's by no means an exhaustive list, but I'll come back to the subject areas in a little bit. I wanted to just quickly mention, well, not too quickly, the fact that we are a Scottish institution and what that means to be based in Scotland. I am Scottish, so I'm slightly biased about certain parts of, well, about, you know, obviously thinking that Scotland is fantastic, but it is also voted by other people again, so it's not just me. It has been voted the world's most beautiful country. And I think this particular slide is a really good example of this. This is actually a mountain that you can climb called Ben Ann. And it's actually maybe an hour from the city centre, from the campus. So it's really kind of on your doorstep, these kind of wonderful, gorgeous views and places to explore. Now, if we talk about Glasgow as a city, the city itself has so much to offer. We talked about it being very friendly and everyone's very approachable, but there is so much to do while you're here. We are ranked in the best cities in the world. There's constantly articles coming out that are declaring Glasgow in the top 10 or the top city to live in. So there's a lot of popular opinion that Glasgow is a great place. Again, it's not just me. So when you're thinking about things that you can do outside of the classroom, there's a huge array of choice. Outdoor activities, if you want to explore, just like the slide shows, there's lots of mountains to climb and parks to venture to. Maybe you could try something you've not done before if you've never had a chance to try winter sports. There's a huge range of winter sports available in Scotland as well. Or maybe you just want to explore and enjoy some of the history. With Glasgow being a hub for culture, it means you have a lot on your doorstep in terms of festivals, in terms of art and theatre. There's the Kelvin Grove Gallery, which is almost next door to the main campus. And you've got the fact that we are the UNESCO City of Music. So there's a huge array of music activities. It might be a big band that's playing the Scottish Hydro, which is one of the biggest venues and busiest venues in the world, I believe. Or maybe it's you want to try something new. You might want to try out Celtic Connections, which is a Scottish music festival that happens in Glasgow every year. Or perhaps you'd like to visit the comedy clubs, and there's a comedy club within throwing distance of our main campus. Obviously, Scotland has a lot to offer in terms of history, lots of castles to visit, and other areas that you might be interested in. I'd also highlight that we host a lot of large sporting events, and actually not a sporting event, but this year we're also hosting the COP26 Climate Change Conference, which is the largest conference in the UK. So just to go back to the kind of subject areas and what you can expect to enjoy subject-wise at Glasgow, the list is very long, and I'm not going through each program today. There's a fantastic A to Z postgrad and undergrad list on our website that you can look at. But this gives you a kind of guide of the topics. As you can see, it is quite a large range of subjects there. Okay. Now, what would you need to join one of our programs? Well, at postgraduate level, we'd be looking for a relevant bachelor's degree. Okay. Now, there can be variations, so I'm just giving you the overall guidance. And what I would suggest is, if you are interested in one of our degrees, is that you look at the program page that we have. Each degree that we teach has its own program page, and on that page is a huge amount of information that will tell you what is needed and what is required in terms of documents, but also it'll tell you about the structure of the degree, the fees, all of this kind of information. Okay.
If I could, Donna, interrupt you here for Bangladeshi students. There are quite a few universities whose degree are directly accepted into University of Glasgow. One has to keep in mind that there are many NARIC, which is the body that equalizes different countries' education systems to the UK's, actually has not changed for Bangladeshi students for quite some time. So what happened is a lot of universities, their degrees are not accepted, but thankfully Glasgow, with collaboration from us and also, by studying the actual universities, they have opened up for degrees from a lot of our universities. Generally, you need a GPA of 3.2 or 3.25 or 3.5, depending on the university you graduate from, and then you can get direct entry into university. So for many universities, it is 3.2. For some, it's 3.25, and for some, it's 3.5. So I just wanted to put it out there because
that's really useful.
Bangladeshi GPA,
yes.
I guess.
So yeah, wonderful information. Thank you so much. The guidance I've given, it is hard to give detailed guidance when there's such a range of courses available. The other thing I would add to that information is the range of relevancy varies across the programs that we teach. So some are quite prescriptive about how much previous experience is needed, and others have more broad guidelines. Okay, if you're thinking about a research qualification, then you would, the first step to that would be obviously having a relevant background, and then looking at potentially finding a supervisor, and there's a tool to do that on our website. I would also like to point out that we do have a page for Bangladesh students where you can find this kind of information about entry requirements, and it's linked on this slide. At undergraduate level, we accept A-levels, IB, and US curriculum tests if you're taking any. But what I would highlight is at the moment we cannot accept the high school certificate from Bangladeshi students directly into first year. Now, if you're taking A-levels or IB, those requirements will be listed under the program page. So you will find quite detailed guidance. Again, the information on this slide is broad information. What I would like to mention...
Sorry, Donna, I wanted to interrupt you again if you go back to the previous one.
Yeah.
So for HSC students, actually, University of Glasgow works in partnership with Kaplan to provide their own foundation or international year one program. So Glaswegian degree is a 4-year degree. So if you want a degree from Glasgow, it is 4 years. So the first year of that you can do in Glasgow International College through Kaplan. So if you have an HSC, you don't have to lose any time. You can do that 1 year and then enter into the second year of the University of Glasgow. Oh, so that's what you're covering next.
So this was what it's totally fine. This is what I was going to highlight, but it's a really good point to make. So even if you're not taking A-levels and IB, there are still plenty of options for you. And I would really emphasize looking at Glasgow International College. You will be in Glasgow. It is part of the campus, Glasgow International College, and they will accept the Bangladeshi high school certificate. But what you will want to do, and obviously Maces can help you with this part, is looking at what degrees you want to do and which foundation would suit you best. And like we've said, you will go into year 2. So you're not doing an extra year. You would do year 1 with Kaplan and then join your degree route in year 2. So it's a really great option for students. Now, this is a popular topic, and I'm just going to mention it sort of briefly in terms of the funding that is required. And it is, I'm just giving you general guidance on the funding because each course has its own tuition fee, okay? So what you see on this slide is an example, okay? You will need to show you've got the funds to support yourself, and you can get a kind of guide as to what to expect there. The reason I want to point this out is because of the scholarship options that we have at Glasgow. So at undergraduate level, we do have the Undergraduate Excellence Scholarship, which is £5,000 discounted from each year of study. And we also have a range of postgraduate scholarships between £5,000 and £10,000. Now, you can read about these scholarships in a lot of detail on our scholarships page. I would recommend doing that because you can see which scholarships you would be eligible for depending on the program that you are interested in. But the key thing I'd like to point out actually is that there is no application form for these. Okay, so it is an automatic assessment, which from my point of view is the best part because it means there's no additional paperwork there. Okay. Now, I want to just mention a couple of other points in relation to funding that some are more time sensitive. So there may be students out there thinking of joining us this year. And there is, we do have a scholarship with the British Council, one of our great scholarships that is available for Bangladesh students. And again, the details are available on our website for this, but I want to highlight it now because the deadline for that is the 31st of May. So if there are students holding offers who haven't applied for that, or students who are in the midst of finalizing their offer, then they should be considering applying for this scholarship. The other scholarship that I want to highlight, which is a fantastic opportunity, is our Adam Smith Business School 20% discount for Bangladesh students. So this is definitely something, if you are interested in one of our business programs, then you should be making the most of this opportunity as well. Okay. So one of the other things we get asked about a lot is accommodation. So we do have a range of university halls of residence that we call them. Some are for undergraduate students and some are for postgrad. And we have I think about 3,500 spaces. So we call them spaces because some are shared rooms, but most are individual rooms. We do have a small selection of family accommodation as well. Now, you can apply for accommodation once you have an offer, but you must have accepted your offer. And the fees will vary depending on the hall of residence that you choose. And you will want to look at the different kinds of halls that we have and choose which one suits you best budget-wise and obviously by preference as well. And there is an accommodation guarantee, but you will need to meet that August deadline. Okay. And then I think this might be my last slide. You're probably pleased to hear. This is just a mention that you do have the option through our website to talk to current students and alumni. You can talk to staff this way as well, but I actually think that's not the best part. I think talking to students and alumni is definitely a huge advantage. So you can get their opinions on their experiences at Glasgow. And I would really recommend using them and asking those questions, definitely. Okay. There we go. How did I do time-wise?
You did beautifully. Thank you so much, Donna. I think you hit it right on the money, and you covered all the main points. So just to summarize, let me see if I have been a good student. So you're ranked 12th in the UK, one of the top 100 universities in the world. And of course, you're a member of the prestigious Russell Group of Universities. You're the fourth oldest English-speaking university in the world, which was established in 1451. I mean, just to study in an institution which is that old, I mean, that itself gives me kind of like, goosebumps. Now, this is, of course, there is in terms of academics, Glasgow, University of Glasgow is one of the best in the world. So there is not much to be said there. If you study in Glasgow, you're studying in a world-class institution. So I'm not going to talk about academics, though. You're ranked number 1 in accounting, number 5 for law, and quite a few other things. But if you're a student who wants to be in a welcoming environment, you love outdoor activities, you know, you want to take part in a lot of cultural activities, and you want to use that time to explore, Glasgow can be a fantastic option for you. For undergraduate, you need mainly anywhere between ABB to AAA, depending on the course. And for postgraduate, you need a 2-1 from undergraduate level, which translates to either 3.2, 3.3, or 3.5, depending on your university from Bangladesh. How did I do so far, Donna?
I think you get full marks. That's wonderful. Thank you.
That's awesome. Look, so there are quite a few questions,
Okay.
and I know you have answered a lot of them already, but you know,
Okay.
this is for people who are coming in. So,
Yeah,
first
totally.
question is from Mustafa Suhail Iqbal. What are the scholarships available for undergraduate students for business studies?
Okay, so the scholarship that we have for undergraduates is actually for all programs. Okay, I think there's possibly an exception with medicine there, but for the Bachelors of Arts, which we call Master of Arts, but it's the same level, and the BSc programs, you're going to be considered for the Undergraduate Excellence Scholarship. Okay, so this is for highly qualified students. You'll be assessed on your grades, and it's an automatic assessment, so you don't have to do any extra paperwork there. And you should hear within 2 weeks if you are being offered, 2 weeks after your offer, because obviously we have to check you're eligible for the program first, and then we look at your scholarship eligibility. Now, obviously, scholarships and fees are assessed every year. So if you're thinking longer term, I always advise students to double check if anything has changed since you've heard that from me. It's always worth double checking that part. But yes, Undergraduate Excellence Scholarship is a fantastic opportunity.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. So basically, what are your tuition fees, Donna? Just to reiterate, like for non-lab and lab.
Well, you're looking at, I think it's, I'm going to double check this to make sure I don't get it wrong. That's okay. Sure. I don't have them all memorized. But at undergraduate, sorry. So for undergraduate, it's between about 19,500 to 23,000, but there are exceptions. But that's for lab-based.
Like medical school is more expensive and all that. Yeah. But so that means that if they get the scholarship, then the 19,500 becomes 14,500, the 23,000 becomes 18,000, something like that. So yeah. You know,
I mean, I'm trusting your math. It's mental arithmetic's not my strong suit, but yes, it would reduce your tuition fee by £5,000. Yeah.
Which is, you know, you're studying in a top 100 ranked university, so you're paying about $25,000. If you compare it to US universities with a similar ranking, you're at least looking at $50,000 or $60,000. For example, you know, obviously, if you're looking at Canada, a lot of Canada has become a popular destination. Some of the popular universities like University of Toronto, McGill, and UBC, the tuition fee is anywhere between $50,000 to $65,000 per year. So it is like a mind-blowing number. So the next question, medical degrees are known for their level of hardness when it comes to getting an entry. Could you please discuss about how hard it is to get into medical schools in Glasgow? Impossible.
I'm not going to say impossible because it's not entirely impossible, but it will be challenging. It's incredibly competitive, and I think it's important to be realistic about that. There is a limited number of places available, but we do have a number of places for international students. So if this is something that you are particularly keen on and you think you'll meet the entry requirements, then I wouldn't want to completely discourage you. But I think definitely doing a lot of reading into what is required and understanding that and being prepared, I think, is probably a very strong advantage. So, for example, the deadline for medicine is the 15th of October. And that I don't think that has changed. So obviously, if you're thinking much longer term, I still think it's likely to be that date. I would advise you to be thinking about it at sort of maybe this time of year is a good time to start thinking about making a medicine application, because you want to understand what is required, and so you know where you are and what the process is I think that's very advantageous. The other thing I'd mention with medicine is that there is a Ucat requirement at Glasgow. I can't speak for other universities, but we do require the Ucat test here at Glasgow.
Oh yeah, I mean, like many other, it is an aptitude test for medical students, so it is difficult. So once you apply, if you're if you're considered, you're then invited for an interview, and if you pass the interview, then you're given an offer for the place. Very, very difficult to get in. Glasgow is a top-ranking university, and medicine, it doesn't matter whether you're a top-ranking university or not, is difficult to get in anyway. So on top of that, it's Glasgow, right? So
yeah, I mean, I would just like to highlight, even though I'm a Scottish person and I went to school in Scotland, I would not have been eligible for medicine because I was not strong enough as a student. So it is competitive for entry. The other thing I would point out, and I do tend to talk to students about that, is there is a lot of programs that are related to medicine, and Glasgow's #1 in the UK for medicine. But there's a lot of our courses that touch on it, particularly within the life sciences field, and also maybe even something like biomedical engineering. So if you're not able to meet the incredibly high requirements for medicine, please don't be too disheartened. There are lots of other fields that are.
So how does it work, Donna? If they apply for the medicine program and they don't get an offer for the medicine program, is it possible to change it automatically, or is it done through clearing?
No, it would probably be through clearing, but and I'm not an expert on the UCAS system, so I would double check this. But I think you're only allowed to choose 4 medical programs on UCAS,
right.
And I think your 5th choice needs to be something else.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But again, like I say, not an expert in this, so I would definitely make sure you double check this. But definitely clearing is an option for a number of students.
So we have a lot of more questions. So
okay.
Just to get
let's move on then. Yeah, no problem.
Could you please let us know more about the accommodations in the University of Glasgow, as well as living expense in general for international students?
Sure. So accommodation is varied. There's different kinds of accommodation, and it's actually really good to look at the web because there's a really great breakdown that compares and contrasts the different kinds of accommodation that we have, and you can split it undergrad and postgrad depending on your level. They'll also give you an indication on how much that costs. Okay. You can apply when you are holding an offer, so it can be a conditional or an unconditional offer. Applications for accommodation tend to open in the spring, but you need to have accepted that offer before you can apply. We have an accommodation guarantee, and that is usually around the 20th of August. The deadline for applying for accommodation is usually around the 20th of August, but the guarantee, you need to have applied by that deadline in order to meet that guarantee requirement. The other thing I'd point out is, in terms of living expenses, Glasgow is actually the 4th most affordable city. I think it was What Uni that voted. So again, it's not just me saying that. Other people have said that. But living expenses wise, we do have a cost of living page on our web that you can look at, which is really useful. It goes into a lot more detail. But generally, we say £12,000 to £13,000 for maybe a postgrad student for the full year. So that probably works out about just over £1,000 a month.
Yeah, so I mean, that's exactly what the UKVI prescribes, about £1,000 a month that you need. But we've got a lot of students there, and actually, I have had students who have lived on £600, £500 even. They live in shared flats and things like that. So once you go, a lot of things become more affordable and things. But in general, the guideline is about £1,000 per month.
Yeah. And obviously, the accommodation costs can be the largest thing that will affect that. Right.
So yeah, exactly. The rent you pay, that would be the largest factor in that. The next question is a good one. After A-levels, do I have to do a 4-year bachelor course, or will I get advanced entry? So for example, a lot of universities, they give 2nd-year entry for A-level students. So
yeah. So and that is quite varied from university to university, and it is also not a sort of one size fits all at Glasgow either. There are some courses that may consider students with strong grades to join us in second year. And one of the examples I would highlight for that is computer science. There's a specific faster route that is, you can read about what's required for computer science undergraduate faster route on the computing science page. I do have a link that there is a list of the courses that will consider advanced entry students, but it will be very dependent on the grades that you've achieved.
Right. Okay. Great. Yeah. I mean, it's basically has to do with that. The next question for Arnav is, can I apply to Glasgow with Duolingo? So right now a lot of IELTS and PTE centers are closed. Though they're reopening some of them. So, but do you accept Duolingo?
Yes, we do. We do accept Duolingo. And again, I feel like I keep saying this, but there is so much information on the program page, including quite detailed information on which tests are accepted and what is required in each test's format. So obviously, we're all used to hearing about IELTS 6.5 and what that breaks down into, but there is a breakdown in what's required for a Duolingo test as well. So if you know the program that you're looking for, you will be able to see what the Duolingo requirements are on that program page. So definitely worth considering.
That's great. Thank you, Farhan, for your question. The next question is from Anwar Raihan Arusha. Aren't the students of TESOL eligible for the Great Scholarship?
I will need to double check that. There is a range of programs that are covered by that, and on our scholarship page, it does say which programs are covered by that. So I can't say for sure about that specific program, but it should be listed on the scholarship page for the Great Scholarship. Okay. I can maybe send you the link for that later if that's helpful.
That would be great. Anwar, we will respond to you on your comments and put in the link for that and let you know if TESOL is eligible for that. The next question is, if someone completes O-levels and then does a diploma from Malaysia instead of A-levels, will they be eligible for direct entry? So just to let you know, I don't know if you're aware of the diploma program in Malaysia, but a diploma program is 2 years. And then usually after the 2-year diploma, students are eligible for second year entry in many UK universities. So I don't know if you have anything.
I don't have a standard response. I couldn't say for sure because it will vary depending on the diploma. There's a lot of different pathway options within Malaysia, and it would depend on that pathway, depending on what that exactly looks like. But if the student's done a relevant background for the course, so obviously if you want to do a science course, you need to have the science subjects, for example. I would say it's worth considering making an application or engaging with me and my team through MACES. We can give you that kind of support for your individual circumstances. I might not be able to answer it right now, but I'd be more than happy to look at that with the admissions team and see if I can give you a more specific answer for your circumstances.
On a general thing, Medha, I just wanted to let you know that if they're doing a diploma, that all of a sudden a lot of times indicates they have very weak O-levels. So that could be a factor that the admissions takes into account. And the second thing is that, of course, you have to be a stellar performer in your diploma. So if you have a really, really good grade, then perhaps the university could consider, but it's going to be on a case-to-case basis. So the Adam Business School scholarships that you've mentioned about, is it an automated one, or do students, are they required to do a separate application?
It's automatic.
Awesome. So very easy. You get in, yep, and then it's automatically considered. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed. You're not guaranteed that, right? But it is.
Well, it's part of the admissions process. So yeah, it should be an automatic process. If there is some kind of error somewhere, again, engaging with me and yourself on that is absolutely fine. It's not a problem to do that.
Sorry, I might have missed it, Donna. Did you say that it's if you get into the business school, you are going to get the scholarship?
Yeah, so it's all programs except the MBA.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Is there going to be a blended teaching approach as well for the 21-22?
At the moment, we are planning on a blended format, but obviously it's only the middle of May. So there's potential that things can change between now and September. We obviously, as a Scottish university, have to follow the Scottish Government guidance and laws if something does change. But at the moment, the university is planning on a blended teaching format.
Thank you very much. The next question, Mustafa Suhail Iqbal, is the living expense cheaper outside the campus?
Well, the one thing I'd like to just mention is that the university is not segregated from the city. It's not a standalone campus. We are part of the city, and you will walk from your hall of residence through the city to your class. So I mean, I don't mean you have to walk across the entire city, but you're walking down the street past all the shops and bars. I think you might be asking if accommodation is cheaper if you choose non-university accommodation. And yes, it may well be. There's lots of private accommodation options and also a range of prices within private options as well as there is at the university. But what I would add is you need to just bear in mind additional bills. So if you choose private accommodation, but it is further away, then maybe you'll need to think about a commuting cost. Are you going to need to take the bus when maybe you would have walked to class before? So just think about the sort of extra bills as well. It's not a requirement to stay in university accommodation, but it does tend to be the preferred choice for students.
So Mustafa, it comes with basically, if you're staying on campus, all your bills are paid, your internet is paid, you're usually quite close to campus, and you're usually 5 to 10 or 15 minutes away, walking distance. Now, if you stay off campus, rent can be actually significantly cheaper, but you have to understand you have to pay your water bill or heating bill and internet costs. Those are separate costs. They might end up still being cheaper, but then again, there is no guarantee. Like if you're going on a master's program, I mean, of course, you're there only for 1 year, but if you're going for undergrad, we would recommend you stay for 1 year at the halls of residence, and then you can then find your way out and then move out. I think that would be like the diligent or smart thing to do. What is your future plan to conduct? This is from Sabina Yasmin. Conduct course of MS in food security during September session of 2021. Study method may be on campus or online basis. Can I get a document session conduct system? Oh, that question is not. I don't know if you understood that.
I'm guessing, Sabina, and forgive me if I'm wrong here. I think you're asking if there's any document that shows you what that will look like. And at the moment, I can't say that there is. We are still working with the Scottish Government on what things like social distancing is going to look like in September. The rules are relaxing here, but not at a rate of knots. It's a very gradual, considered process, and the government will change those rules if numbers of COVID change, and we will have to adapt to those. The plan for all courses, including food security, which sounds like an excellent course, by the way, quite jealous that you're considering that. We are expecting it to be a blended format, but that will vary from course to course depending on what size of classes there are. But we are expecting it to be a blended format. You will get more information if you're an offer holder as we go through the summer. Okay, you will be kept in the loop about this. You will get information from them. And finally, you're always welcome to get in touch with us via MESAs or directly.
Sabina actually happens to be a government. So she has an unconditional offer. And the thing is, the Bangladesh government. So she's a scholarship applicant from the Bangladesh government. So the thing is, there is a clause there which says that you're only going to be eligible for that scholarship if you go and physically do classes. Like if you're doing online classes, then the scholarships don't count. They won't get the money.
I understand that, and I don't think that would be the only scholarship body to kind of have that rule. Sabina, you are more than welcome to engage with us on it. I can't point you to a document right now because it's still under consideration, but you will get that more certain information as we get closer to September. But when I talk about blended learning, we're talking about maybe large classes like lectures being online, because it's difficult to get that many people in a room together. You know, we're talking, you know, large groups of people, maybe
but for
over
postgraduate
50.
in food security, it will be smaller classes anyway, I guess.
I mean, I can't say for sure, but yes, I would expect it's quite a specific course, and we are hoping that tutorials and seminars and whatnot will be held in person. But what I have to say is the social distancing rule is probably the biggest thing here, because at the moment it's 2 meters, but if it changes to 1 meter, that changes how many people you can have in a room of a particular size together. So that's why it's quite hard to be so specific at the moment, but we are working on this, and we know that students need this information.
So I have a good news for Bangladeshi students for that. So here's the thing. Even if the course is online, like, you know, it's taken place online, but the university will issue a CAS, and you can apply for your visa. And for now, as of now, even though Bangladesh is a red country, you can still travel to the UK. All right. So you can still travel to the UK and do online classes. So that will not affect your scholarship because you're physically in the country. However, that could change. So for example, you know, right now, if you travel to the UK from Bangladesh, you can travel as a student. However, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and you have to pay approximately £1,700. So that's an extra cost that students have to deal with. As of now, that's the rule. Now, that could change later on. They might relax it a little bit for vaccine people. I don't know. But that's something that is wait and see. But as of now, you can still travel and still be eligible for the scholarship. Having said that, they're somewhere down. They could change the law and say, you know what, travel is banned. I mean, obviously, that's probably not going to happen because vaccination is taking place and, you know, things are opening up and getting better. But the Indian variant is kind of like a curveball. So if that becomes a difficult one, then, you know, there might be other changes. So that's just a wait and see kind of a thing, right, Donna?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It is a wait and see. These are the current circumstances, but it is still only the middle of May. So there's a lot of time between now and September. And all of this is under consideration by not just the individual universities, but Universities Scotland, Universities UK, and the government. So it's a wait and see.
The final one is, I have a conditional offer. Do I have to do anything else before my A-level results? So this is an A-level student, obviously. She's waiting for her results to come.
So, I mean, obviously not seeing your offer, I'm assuming A-levels are the only condition outstanding on your offer. Obviously, there may be other things. If A-levels is your only offer, your only condition. Then all you need to do is firstly work towards getting your A-levels. Obviously, that's a key part. Maybe you've done that part already, in which case, wonderful. Other than that, you are thinking about the extra things. So you're thinking about preparing for your visa application, and you're thinking about maybe applying for accommodation. This will depend on whether you've accepted your offer. So if you're holding a conditional offer and you've accepted it, then you can crack on with your accommodation application. If you haven't accepted it, then you won't be able to apply for accommodation until you have, but that's obviously a personal choice for you. With the visa stuff, you won't be issued a CAS until no earlier than the 15th of June. Okay, we won't start issuing those till the 15th of June.
Actually, in her case, it won't be before August because her results, I guess, finalized in August.
Of course, sorry, yeah. So you've got plenty of time to prepare for what to expect with your visa application, understand the process. It is a very straightforward process, but it does help to be prepared. And obviously, Maces will probably help you with that part as well.
Just to let you know, you will be working closely with your counselor on this. However, there are a few things that you need to do right now. One is get your medical out of the way. Okay, so medical is done through appointment. So get that done. That stays valid for 6 months. But you want to, believe me, you want to get it out of the way because sometimes if they have some kind of a dot or they can't find the comprehensive answer, this happens very rarely. But if they do, you have to wait 2 months. So you don't want to wait till August for that to happen. Number one. Number two is, in June or end of June or July, you want to put the money that is required for your maintenance in the bank. You need to show your first year's tuition fee and your first year's living expense in an account in your name for 28 days. Now, I prepared a, like a video. It is on the Mace's YouTube channel where you're watching from, a lot of you. So I will post that in the comment. So you can actually watch that and find out how to apply for your visa. So that will give you an idea at how much money is required and things like that. So just get those things done, and good luck with your results. I'm sure if your results are good enough, Glasgow will be a fantastic option for you. So Donna, thank you so much. That sort of brings, I think we've answered pretty much all of the questions that came in. And obviously, if there is more and we need help, we will probably reach out to you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And I hope, those of you who are listening or have watched us, you get all the information you need. It is a wonderful university, a wonderful city. The costs are quite reasonable compared to the rankings of, being one of the top 100 in the world, top 12 in the UK, and, a Russell Group university. And who gets to say I studied in the 4th oldest English-speaking university? I mean, that to me is like a great thing. And have you seen the campus, like the main building? It's beautiful. So hopefully you can apply. You can apply or, through Mace's. We don't have any charges. You can get in touch with us by email, mail@macesbd.com. You can message us on Facebook. You can go to our website, www.macesbd.com, macesbd.com. And there you can fill up an inquiry form or message us through that. There are many ways to get in touch. Please do, because it takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks to get an offer from University of Glasgow. And obviously, you're looking at the September session, so a lot of courses might get booked. Again, thank you so much for listening, and those of you who will come back to it later on. Thank you, Donna, and hopefully we will catch up with you again soon for our students.
I just want to say thanks for having me. It's been a real pleasure to chat with you and your students. So looking forward to seeing you in Glasgow soon, and take care.
Thank you so much.